So before we start the video, I'd like to ask you guys to please consider subscribing to the channel and liking the video, as it helps the channel grow. So, let's get into it. Alright, so week 17 of the NFL season is coming up. And for the Chicago Bears, they will be taking on the Detroit Lions on Sunday in one of their final games of the season. In this video, I'm going to give you all 3 keys of the game that I think the Bears should do to be able to win this game. So, without further ado, let's get into it. What's up, guys? KT here, back at it with another video. Today, we're doing the Bears. The Bears will be going into Detroit for this Week 17 matchup against the Lions, in a game that has implications for both teams. The Lions trying to fight into the playoffs. You know, the Bears trying to get a higher draft pick, or trying to play spoiler. We'll see which one happens on Sunday. But I'm not going to hold y'all with all the useless talk. Let's get straight into the first key of the game. The first key when you play the Detroit Lions, and this holds true from the last game, is that you have to cover Amon-Ra St. Brown. You cannot let him run open on every single play. And, you know, the Bears defense, they're going to have to step up from the last time they played this Detroit Lions team, because they cannot let the wide receivers run wide open on every single play. I'll get into some more of that on why that's happening later. But for the Bears, you know, Amon-Ra St. Brown is always a topic of concern when you play the Detroit Lions. He's Jared Goff's favorite target. He's a very good receiver. Last time he played against you, he had 12 catches for 140, I think. So he definitely destroyed your defense last time he played. That's because, you know, receivers were running wide open. A lot of miscommunication in that secondary. I did like how the secondary played in that that Eagles game, that Bills game. They played against better receivers in A.J. Brown and Stephon Diggs, and, you know, better receiving corps than the Lions, and they've done a pretty good job. But, you know, I'm just basing this off the last game. The Bears did not have a very good game on defense against Detroit. So, you know, and that all starts with guarding Amon-Ra St. Brown. So, I want to see how Kyler Gordon fares, you know, against Amon-Ra St. Brown. I know he's not as good as Stephon Diggs and, you know, and A.J. Brown, but he's definitely a very good receiver. And last time you played against him, he gave them the work. So, you know, always cover, you know, Amon-Ra St. Brown. Know where he is on the field. Draw up specific plays and coverages for him, and you have a better chance to win this game. Point number 2, you got to get pressure on Jared Goff. The last time the Bears played the Detroit Lions, they only had 1 sack, and that came from Jack Sanborn, who is no longer playing this season. So, you know, the Bears are going to have to find a way to generate pressure. I thought they did a good job of that, again, in the Eagles game and in the Bills game. Especially in that Bills game, it felt like Allen was under pressure constantly in that game. There were some moments where, you know, they let Allen sit back there for about 10 seconds, but Allen couldn't take advantage, and that's because he was under pressure for most of the game. And you know, so in this game, you know, coming off the last game against the Lions, you cannot let Jared Goff just sit back there and pick you apart, because, you know, eventually, if you're letting guys like Jared Goff sit back there for 7 seconds or more, you know, he's going to pick you apart. The receivers are going to come open. You know, they can't sit there and cover for 10 seconds, so they're going to have to get some pressure on Jared Goff. Make him, you know, move around in the pocket. Force him out of the pocket, honestly, because he's not a very good runner, and we all know that. And, you know, Jared Goff, his decision-making can be kind of suspect at times when he's under pressure, but that's with all quarterbacks. I really do like the way Jared Goff has been playing this year. A lot of people think he got snubbed for the Pro Bowl. I might be one of those people as well, because, you know, he had a very good year. You know, Geno's year kind of fell off at the end. The Lions have been struggling a little bit in the past 2 games, but, you know, I felt like Jared Goff had a very good year. But for the Bears, you got to find a way to get him on the ground. You cannot let him sit back there for 7 seconds and throw the ball to wide open receivers. That's just not a very good way to win. So, yeah, get pressure on Jared Goff. I would like to see Alan Williams throw some timely blitzes at him, you know, throw some stunts at him, confuse him with some certain coverages, and, you know, get him on the ground, you know, make this game tough for him. My final key of the game would probably be, and this applies for the next week's game as well, you know, run your offense, but keep Justin Fields healthy. You know, running the Bears offense is heavily dependent on Justin Fields' legs. You know, we like to see him with the QB option. We like to see him with the QB power, the QB draw, you know, all these different dynamic runs that he can do. And while that's all fine and good, and they do have to run that offense on Sunday to have a chance, you don't want him to get hurt either. And that applies for next week's game as well. Even though Detroit is not a very good pass rushing team, Justin Fields is the most sacked quarterback in the league. Those hits add up. So, when you're running your offense on Sunday, sprinkle in a couple QB runs, but don't let him get hit too much. Don't let him take those unnecessary hits to the head or hits to the knee. Anything that could risk serious injury. Since he's not going to be sitting for these last 2 games, try not to put him in harm's way. That comes from protecting your quarterback. That comes from, the offensive line blocking for him. That comes from, running the ball. We should see a heavy dose of Khalil Herbert and David Montgomery in this game. So, run your offense efficiently. Run your offense like you usually do, but keep Justin Fields safe at the same time. I know that's a hard thing to ask because we're so heavily dependent on him. But, these guys get paid the big bucks to figure it out. So, run your offense, but keep them safe. So, my final score for this game was going to be 34-31 Detroit. We had a very good game against the Lions last time, and it was very entertaining. It was a shootout. The teams were going back and forth. We only lost by 1 point, so 34-31 seems like a very good realistic score. Again, the Bears defense is banged up. No Jack Sanborn, no Jalen Johnson, no Kendall Vildor. And of course Detroit's defense is also banged up. I think they're missing one of their safeties. I think they're missing one of their corners. I don't quote me on that, but they're also banged up as well. So these two teams know how to play each other. Their division opponents, Amon-Ra St. Brown and Jamal Williams seem to have big games against the Bears. Justin Fields seems to have good games against the Lions. So 34-31 seems like a very good game and a very good score for this game. It's going to be another shootout. I don't think much defense will be played, but we'll see what happens. One more scenario I can think of if the Bears don't play spoiler is that if Houston wins one of their last 2 games, if Houston wins one of the last 2 games and the Bears win none of their last 2 games, the Bears will get the number 1 overall pick. Just keep that in mind when heading into this game when you start seeing fishy play calls. So keep that in mind. I wouldn't mind having a number 1 overall pick because you can do so much with that pick and you can finally get Justin Fields some help this offseason. But let me know what you guys think in the comment section. Leave your final score in the comment section and who you think will win. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, please consider subscribing to the channel and liking the video as it helps the channel grow. Hit that notification bell so you're notified every time I drop one of these Bears videos. Follow me on social media as I'll be tweeting live during the game. We're going into the new year, so I'll see you guys in the new year. I'm out. Bear down. Peace.